I'm going for the dishevelled mum look today. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today is another sort of overlocker themed video where I'm going to show you how to create a lettuce hem on your overlocker. Lettuce hems are essentially a way of creating a sort of wriggly ruffled edge on your jersey fabrics. You tend to use it on hemlines, necklines, sort of like sleeve openings. So you could create like cuffs. I've done it double-sided obviously, but you could create cuffs like this. It's just like a really pretty way of finishing things off, and great for kids' clothes as well if you want to create like a really nice, cute, frilly edge to things. Now, I will say, like the differential video that hopefully you watched last week about differential feed, this does depend on the base jersey fabric that you're using. It only works on stretch fabrics, obviously, because we're stretching the fabric. So my advice is still to have a little experiment first. I will show you the settings that I'm using today, but I might want to tweak those settings depending on the fabric that I'm using. So today I've got this really sort of lightweight ribbed jersey, and the lettuce hem is, you know, quite wiggly and quite pretty. But on a more structured jersey, it may need more stretching. The differential feed might need to be a little bit lower. So definitely use the settings as a starting point and then see how you go from there. Now on my machine, I'm using a rolled hem setting because that creates this nice sort of rolled finish on the edge and creates like a tube, almost like a satin stitch. So you can follow my settings for the rolled hem. If you don't have a rolled hem setting on your machine, just have an experiment with how it looks on a normal standard stitch and see what effect you can create with it. It will still look really good. It just depends on the finish that you like. So have a little experiment, but here are the settings that I would use on my machine. Okay, so let's talk settings. The first setting I changed was the stitch length. Because I'm doing a rolled hem, I changed my stitch length to R for rolled hem on my machine. If you haven't got that, I would put it at about a 1 if you don't have that R setting. You basically want your stitches to be really close together, so it sort of like creates like a tube, almost like a satin stitch along the top as you're sewing. The second setting I changed on my machine was the differential feed. So you'll know from last week's video that affects the stretch and the pace in which it goes through the machine. So you want it quite low, so I put mine just under 1. Mine goes all the way down to 0.5, but I haven't done it down to 0.5 because I just found that it was stretching the fabric too much as I was stretching it as well, and I found it a little bit easier to control the stretch myself. So put it just below 1 if you have that setting. The next one is down here. I have an option for standard or rolled hem on my machine. So I opted for the rolled hem because it just helps the machine setting of it going through. But if you don't have this, don't worry about it. It shouldn't affect it too much. The only other thing I did on mine is I took out the thread for the right needle. I haven't removed the right needle just because I'm lazy, but if you don't want to leave any sort of holes, if you've got a very obvious jersey that would make holes in it, then you can take the right needle out, but I just took my thread out. So I've only got the left needle thread in, the upper looper and the lower looper. And the last setting I changed is down here. So on my machine, I have a rolled hem setting. So there's a standard or a rolled hem. Now to access this, I had to disengage my knife. So to open all of this up, disengage my knife. Then there's another button in here that I have to press to sort of push this plate out, which I won't do because I've got all my things in. And then I could change it from a standard to a rolled hem setting. So if you have an option to do that, then change it to a rolled hem because it just helps your machine guide the fabric through in a neater way. Okay, so once you've done all those settings and you have taken out your right needle thread, then we can get sewing. Okay, so now you've changed the settings on your machine. What you're going to do is stretch your fabric as it goes through the machine. So my differential feed is lower than normal, so it should go through at a slower pace, stretching the fabric anyway. But what I want to do is just stretch the fabric as I'm sewing, and that will sort of create a more ruckled effect. Okay, so you can already see that the lettuce hem is starting to take shape, but essentially to start with, the fabric will just be sort of going back to normal. So if it doesn't look as lettucey as you like it, just wait a little bit and give it a little steam. So don't press it, just put some steam on it, and it will help the stitches and the thread sort of shrink up, and the fabric will recover slightly, and then you can see if you like the lettucey effect or not. Okay, so here is my fabric laying flat on a table, and you can see how it's created that lovely lettuce effect all the way along. So you can do this on necklines or sleeves, sort of to finish off the sleeves around your tops if you want to. It's just a really lovely effect. Obviously, I would use the same colour thread normally for this, but I wanted to use a really contrasting thread so you can see what it looks like. So if we look really closely, you can see how much of the thread is sort of wrapped over there, and you can see that if we had the right needle in as well, it would have stitched down the edge, and we don't really need that. We just want sort of the thread to wrap around the top. So it's created this lovely rolled hem and finished the edge really neatly and created like a tube of stitching along the top, and that tube is what's creating this nice sort of neat finish on the lettuce hem. So I've given that a bit of a steam now. And obviously the more you play with it, the more it'll sort of like stretch out. So just have a play with how you want it to look, and you can finish that on the edges of your fabric, sleeve hems, necklines, things like that. So I hope this was helpful. So I hope you found this video useful. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you did, and comment below if you have any questions for me. And also comment if you have tried different settings on your overlocker. Maybe put the brand and the model of your overlocker and what settings you found useful. Just in case anyone else can refer to the comments then, and if their machine is different. I have a Janome 6234XL, so the settings and the stitch sort of options might be very different to your overlocker. So yeah, if you can help out another sewist, then please comment below. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I will see you again soon for another video. Happy handmade, everyone.